I had some words that kept popping in my head as I pondered whether or not I should upload this video or even talk about this subject. Those words were brain dead topic. I kept reminding myself that this is sort of a brain dead topic. A lot of people are going to tell you this is very simple, it's not exactly entertaining, but I care enough about the subject, and a lot of people seem to not understand this subject very well, so I feel like it's worth uploading, but I guess I will find out in the comment section whether or not you guys find that to be the case. Today we're going to be talking about the scary topic of people who don't like certain video games.
This man is overgasped!
I'm just going to jump right into the topic here. Here's how this works. There are people out there that when they hear that you don't like a certain game, they assume that you didn't understand it. Regardless of whatever your opinion is, or why you formed that opinion in the first place, it is irrelevant. You don't like the game because you're bad at it. I've been told this time and time again, but over the last 2 years, I really stopped taking it personally. I know, that might be hard to believe, but I really did, because I started to realize it's a defense mechanism for these types of people. People take what they care about very seriously. I totally understand. I try to get my friends into Final Fantasy 15, and they didn't like it very much. But because they are in my life, they're people that I know and care about, I can ask them questions and sort of dive into their brains, and I come to find out they didn't really get very far and they didn't learn how the combat works, and this is sort of what I got after grilling them. If you guys are watching this video, shame on you. Sometimes people don't like a game due to lack of understanding. I've been there. I have gotten in my own head over certain games and just hated them. Like Star Wars Battlefront 2 is a really good example of a game that I really had no business hating, but I wanted something from it that it was never going to provide. Once I tried to accept the game for what it was and tried to master the fundamentals of gameplay, I began really loving Star Wars Battlefront 2. And while my Battlefront 2 streams and videos haven't done well on the channel, I do play it, occasionally. A lot of heroes versus villains lately. I really do like the game. I'm not going to waste your time and list every game that I didn't like and then I slowly came around to, or games that I didn't like and were able to decipher the exact reasons why, and despite research and practice and playtime, I just never got into it. You know, I could go into that would take forever. But if you go watch my video the day before Warzone came out, and I talked about my problem with Battle Royale, and I was sort of kind of playing it for laughs, just sort of saying, you know, this is what Battle Royale is to me. I don't think Modern Warfare needs another iron in the fire. I don't think it needs its fingers in any more pies. A lot of people critiqued me for just not knowing how to play Battle Royale. And I find this funny because I've watched so many live streams of really good Fortnite, PUBG, and Apex players. I've played a good amount of Blackout. I got a Victory Royale in Fortnite beta when it was first on console. That was interesting, the Fortnite Battle Royale beta. You know, and I've played a good amount of PUBG, but you know, it's just they never grab me. You know, I've watched really good players, I see how you win games, and that style of play does absolutely nothing for me. But people, without knowing that, just automatically assume I don't like it because I'm bad. Now, on the other side of this coin, there are people that I genuinely think don't like video games because they didn't put enough time in, like my friends with Final Fantasy 15, or they really don't have a grasp on it in general. They don't know how to do well in the style of game that it is, and so they just sort of reject it. And they come up with a lot of reasons to reject it. And the thing is, some people that are really smart are able to come up with a lot of reasons, and I know this from personal experience, because they're smart, because they're good with words, they can explain why the game doesn't work, when really that's just why it doesn't work for them, but they can make it sound like solid fact. There's a lot of dislike towards Modern Warfare that's sort of like that, where you see people saying that the game is made for casuals, when really, it's kind of funny to me, and I'm kind of in the middle here, because in Modern Warfare, at the end of the day, does employ a lot of things I don't agree with, but a lot of those things are from other games that most people consider to have a higher skill ceiling, more teamwork required, more situational awareness required. Basically games like Insurgency, Squad, or Battlefield 1 and 5. It sort of implements a lot of those types of features into their game. In fact, Battlefield 5 and Modern Warfare have a lot in common. Messy maps that make it hard to see people, a mini-map that doesn't show gunfire, and guns that kill really quickly. You know, until DICE decided to screw with the weapon balance, but that's a whole different video that I'll never make. But in Battlefield, if you complain about a lot of those things, you get just dogpiled in YouTube comment sections about, well, you're not good enough, you're not proficient enough, you're not tactical enough, you're not aware enough, you know, you're just inadequate, and that's why you don't like those design decisions. and they're really what makes the game more hardcore, more realistic, more skill-based. And on the flip side, most people, when you talk about these design decisions in Modern Warfare, oh, they made it for casuals, it's designated for children, it's a baby game, it's not for the competitive hardcore players that are really into Call of Duty. I'm sort of in the middle. I think Modern Warfare made some bad decisions. I've complained about them enough on the channel. Anyone that calls me a fanboy just hasn't watched my channel. But anyone that thinks that I hate Modern Warfare also hasn't watched my channel, because I think Modern Warfare also employs a lot of great design choices from Call of Duty's past. And I think the game is a lot more fun than some people want to make it out to be. And yeah, maybe that's because I mostly play with a full group of friends, but if that's how I have fun, that's how I have fun. That's how I enjoyed Rainbow Six Siege, that's how I enjoy Battlefield, that's how I enjoy Modern Warfare. I'm okay with doing that. But then again, when I hop in solo and use a weapon that I've specifically designed to basically fail for a video, I have a shit ton of fun. I have my own fun in Modern Warfare, and I accept the game for what it is, and I play to the strengths of what the game requires. Whereas some people would like to say that that's just for noobs, which in my opinion is a defense mechanism. It's a way to deflect criticism on their own gameplay, and maybe the criticism on themselves, the subconscious sort of, hey, maybe you're not very good at this game. Nope, it's made for noobs. And a good example of that would be me playing Advanced Warfare back in the day, a game that I got to Grandmaster Prestige in, got diamond camo on so many weapons, but the thing is, that wouldn't stop my bitching. The words that would come out of my mouth when I would have a bad match in Advanced Warfare is, this game is a skill-less clusterfuck, and that's what I would call it, a skill-less clusterfuck, sort of taking the game and diminishing its design choices in order to bolster myself and feel better about my failings. And I think a lot of Call of Duty players are doing that right now with Modern Warfare. But at the same time, there are people that just aren't into a type of game, and I think, yeah, they might try to justify it 100 different ways, some of which people will agree with, and other things that people will just be like, hey, get good, figure it out. It's not really that complicated, you're getting in your own head over it, relax. But you can list 100 different things, right? You can say skill-based matchmaking, the weapon balance, the map design, the mini-map. Those are just a couple. I don't really mind Dead Silence as a field upgrade, but I still wonder why the fuck the developers haven't added Dead Silence and Amplify to the perks section, because that would be what most of the community has been hammering on about. Same with the minimap, same with suppressed versus unsuppressed weapons, same with the ghost perk. It doesn't make sense that they're not listening. I totally get that. That's not up for debate in my opinion. Those are objective things the community has been asking for and are being just flat out ignored. And because of things that Joe Saycott said, oh, we want to make the game, fun for newer players and bad players, yeah, but, I'm sorry, I hear that as marketing dribble because I know that they don't say things that aren't approved by PR people. And so I know that when COD World War II was coming out, they talked about it being hardcore and realistic and immersive. They're buzzwords. In my opinion, Joe Saycott saying the game was made for, new players to have fun. He also said he wanted new and longtime players to have fun alike, but nobody wants to talk about that. So I don't take Infinity Ward's word as 100%. I mean, Pat Kelly from Infinity Ward says there's no skill-based matchmaking in Warzone. Activision says reverse Uno card, bitch. There is skill-based matchmaking in Warzone. Well, they don't say it. Exclusive Ace has to find that out for himself and waste days of his time trying to make sure that Infinity Ward's dotting their I's and crossing their T's. So yeah, maybe this sounds obvious, but some people don't like games because they don't like the game. It's not really a lack of understanding, they don't want to do the things required to succeed. Try to figure that one out. They don't want to do the things required to succeed. Humans are capable of great and amazing things. If someone doesn't want to play Dark Souls, if someone doesn't want to play Kingdom Hearts, if someone doesn't want to play Witcher or Doom Eternal, they don't want to fight the Marauders in Doom Eternal specifically, they don't want to have certain challenges in front of them, they know how to get past it, they could get past it, but do they want to? A really good example, again for me, is Metal Gear Solid 3. I hated the controls in Metal Gear Solid 3. I did not expect them to be this atrocious. Metal Gear Solid 3 controlled like absolute ass, and yet I went through it because I was enjoying the story and I enjoyed the satisfying moments of gameplay. So I understood the challenge that I had to overcome, I understood how I had to come out of my comfort zone, and I decided to do so because I found it to be worth it. And with Modern Warfare, I find the things you have to do to win to be worth doing. Slowing down your play style a little bit, and just accepting the fact that it's a slower, campier Call of Duty compared to what we've had previously, just accepting that, then you can start doing well. If you're not willing to do that, don't sweat it. Don't do it. Play a different game. I was not willing to accept what I had to do to win in Black Ops 4. And that's really what it is. Whether or not you choose to accept the challenge, not whether or not you're up for it. When you're talking to your fellow gamer, just assume that they know how to play a video game. That's the thing, my friends didn't like Final Fantasy 15, but I know one of them was really into The Witcher 3, the other one was really into Assassin's Creed Origins, two very similar games to Final Fantasy 15. I know they're capable of playing through large RPGs and beating them. They could totally play Final Fantasy 15 if they wanted to, but I just don't feel like they gave it a fair shake. I don't think they learned the mechanics, I feel like they judged it too quickly. We saw that in the Call of Duty community with how Drifter reacted to Infinite Warfare coming out, and it was really obvious from his videos and things he would talk about in the game that he just wasn't really understanding of the game. He came out later and corrected a lot of the things he said, and he sort of backpedaled, appropriately in some areas, and I appreciate that about him. But if you need to tell somebody that doesn't like a game that you enjoy that they just don't understand it, they're just not good at it, without probing deeply at all, not asking what they have and haven't done, have you ever watched a streamer play this game? Have you ever seen a tutorial? Have you watched this video on how to get good at the game? Nope, you just sort of dismiss what they say as, well, that means you're bad. Anyone that doesn't like a battle royale game is just bad, and they're mad because they can't be good at it. What if I don't want to be good at it? What if I don't accept that challenge? What if I decide that with my free time and the time I want to put into video games of all fucking things, what if I decide I'm just not into that style? Is it really that crazy to say that? I'll answer that. No, it's not. It's really not. So yeah, while sometimes people, I think, do jump the gun, they do get ahead of themselves, they get in their own head over a game, and they won't accept it, and so they'll never do well at it, and then they'll never have fun. That's happened to me. I've seen it happen with my friends. I see it happening on YouTube. But for the most part, regardless of justifications and reasons, and sometimes just excuses, regardless of them, some people just aren't interested. Like, you could be really good at Call of Duty and just not want to put up with wondering why your match went the way it did because of the matchmaking. I personally think you should sort of just toughen up and understand that your decisions matter more than the enemy stats being similar to yours, and while it sucks you can never relax, who the fuck is trying to relax in Call of Duty? As someone who's recently started playing a lot of single-player games over the last 4 years instead of just playing Call of Duty obsessively, don't play Call of Duty to relax. Don't play Battlefield to relax. You could goof around in it with your friends, you could sort of play it casually, but don't expect the game to treat you nicely. That's sort of my opinion about like the skill-based matchmaking thing. At the same time though, no one needs to put up with skill-based matchmaking if they don't want to. What if they want a shooter where they're allowed to sort of flex their skillful muscles because they're not playing against people of the same skill level all the time, making them feel average? It doesn't mean they're bad, it means they don't accept the challenge. Or maybe with skill-based matchmaking, they don't accept the premise of the challenge. Because maybe they think that's a sneaky, shitty way to guard players from having to deal with a higher level player, and also make those lower level players never feel like they're getting better because the skill level moves up with them. Hopefully you see what I mean. Either way, to summarize this video, some people, yes, they jump the gun, they're bad, they don't accept the game, they have tons of excuses, but other times it's because they don't accept the premise of the challenge. If they play video games a lot, if they play shooters a lot, if they play RPGs a lot, they know which ones they do and don't want to play. I got through a fourth of The Witcher 3 before I realized the game, its style, its aesthetic, and characters, and just overall tone wasn't for me. I watched videos, tips and tricks, how to farm XP, I learned how to do cool things with the combat. I got pretty good at it, essentially, but I just couldn't get into it, and maybe one day I will be. I wasn't into Battlefront 2 for 2 years, and then I was like, you know what, I'm gonna accept this for what it is, and go in with a fresh mind. Maybe one day I will do that. But either way, let me know what you think about this in the comment section below, and if you made it till this point in the video, put the words "get bad" in your comment. Then I'll know you heard me all the way through before commenting, and I can take your comment more seriously. Thank you so much for watching. See you when I see you. Goodbye.